Thank you. Thank you. So I have the pleasure to moderate Charles. So I'm going to just introduce quickly myself. I'm Jean-Sébastien Mariez. So I'm a partner. I founded a firm called Momentum Avocat. It's a Paris-based firm. And the reason why I'm here is because I do work a lot on trust and safety issues for like platform, UGCs, marketplace, or gaming services also. And as a result, I found few questions to ask to Charles on the topic today, who's how, just taking my notes, but yeah, so today, because we're gonna talk about how moderation can support online platforms in comply with the DSA. So, Charles, can you just say a word about you, and then I'll make a short intro about what's DSA, just to make sure that everyone in the room, but I'm pretty sure you're aware of what it is, and then we'll start the discussion.
Thank you very much, Jean-Sébastien. Hello, everyone. So I'm Charles, CEO and founder of Bodyguard. I'm like 29. I founded Bodyguard 7 years ago. And I'm mostly the tech and product guy at Bodyguard with a strong expertise in content moderation, as I started computer programming at the age of 10, somewhere like that. So I'm the one who created Bodyguard technology, and we are going to talk about that just after. But a quick intro about the DSA.
Yeah. So just to make sure everyone is on the same page, so you heard about the DSA, of course. The DSA, to do a short intro, it's based very much on the basics of the previous e-commerce directive, as you know, especially with respect to the liability regime of the platforms. But the DSA built on this to introduce as a regulation a common set of rules, the aim of which is to encourage or to require to implement a series of measures so that platforms tackle more efficiently the fight against all kind of illicit content, actually. It applies to different kind of intermediaries. I mentioned few, but we can mention the hosting provider, the platform, UGC platform, marketplaces, or other type of service. We preparing this roundtable, we discuss a little bit about the gaming industry that may fall also within the scope of DSA. And the DSA is now applicable for a bit more than a year. So it's a great timing to talk about moderation and DSA and how Bodyguard, a service provider as Bodyguard, can help to implement it. A word before starting the discussion on the moderation. If you look at the DSI, you know that moderation is a central topic. Because first, the platform, they have to describe precisely in the terms of condition the different rules, the different policies, the different procedures that govern the moderation on their platform. They also have to implement complaint handling system, out-of-court settlement processes, escalation processes, all these kind of things. An interesting point also to have in mind when talking with a technology provider is also the requirements related to the transparency when algorithmic decisions are made, when some kind of AI may be used to moderate the content. And in terms of transparency, one last point that also is quite relevant to discuss today is that every year the platform have to deliver a transparency report. So that means they have to explain what they're doing, how they're doing it, and we'll come to discuss how to manage all this data, namely to satisfy this requirement to provide a report. So this being reminded, I guess the first question is for Charles to explain a bit more what the role of a tech provider can be in complying, generally speaking, to start, in complying with all these rules, and especially the rules related to moderation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jean-Sébastien. I just want to remind before that DSA is about protecting individuals at the beginning from toxicity. It's important to have that in mind, because that's the direct result of toxicity is the creation of DSA. So it's all about, for me, proactive protection on social media platform. So that's why Bodyguard has been created 7 years ago now, and maybe some background about Bodyguard. We are developing technologies to retrieve and remove toxic comments online. And we do provide that services to huge companies worldwide. So companies on the luxury industry like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, etc., to help them doing moderation on their social media business platform like Facebook, Instagram, etc. We do that for sports club, for media as well, but we do also provide our API for video games creators like Ubisoft, Ankama, or other companies like BeReal or Yubo, or that need some moderation in real times, and that's why I'm talking about technology right now. It's because it's really important for Bodyguard to be proactive in terms of protection. And that's maybe the only thing missing on the DSA part, is that there is a lot of needs about removing comments afterwards. And I mean, Bodyguard mission is to protect a lot of people before damage is done. So that's why we are now protecting 2.5 billion people worldwide and analyzing billions of comments every month in a proactive way.
Yeah, and that's a very important point, because actually, for sure, when you look at the DSA, there is this notice and action requirement. You have to set up your notice and action process, which is the purpose of which is to remove content based on notice, so it's reactive. But you have also this provision that are there to, it was called during the discussion of the DSA, it was called the Good Samaritan clause. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's a provision that makes clear that platforms, when they implement this kind of measure, proactive, when they use some kind of tech provider like you are, all these measures, they cannot be used to set aside the limited liability regime, and that's definitely an incentive for the platform to use proactive measures as you help them to do.
Yeah, totally. And when it comes to Bodyguard, I mean, I wanted to talk also about moderation and what is moderation when it comes to developing a technology. For me, this is something that we tend to forget, but moderation is a mouse and cat game. And we are going to talk about AI and generative AI and machine learning and all of that just after, but moderation is about a mouse and cat game. You do have the mouse, which is the end user, which is fast and agile and quickly evolved about how he sends toxicity and create toxicity on different platforms. And then you have the cat, which is sometimes way too big to follow the new trends. And that's the main issue about different competitors that we have, our technologies.
To keep the pace.
Keeping the pace. So that's why we are going to talk about that just after, but being able to develop the technology that is as agile as the mouse is really important in terms of moderation. And my message is that we should focus more on spending money on the development of core technology to tackle online toxicity in a proactive way than others.
Okay. Okay, very interesting. Maybe if we, based on my experience, one of the challenge that faced the platforms, let's say, to say it generally speaking, and the challenge that faces the trust and safety team is because there are so many types of illicit or harmful content, is to organize some kind of taxonomy or categorization of the different types of content that has to be or can be removed, and also to associate to these types of content a set of rules to guide actually the trust and safety team and the trust and safety people within the organization. You mentioned when we prepared this discussion, you mentioned the role that you have in helping this team to figure out some kind of taxonomy. Can you talk about it a little bit, please?
Yeah. For me, content moderation is about being precise when it comes to integrating technology in your platform. And that's why you cannot use generalist technology like machine learning or generative AI right now, because the technology that you have to use has to be custom about your platform needs. And this is what we are doing as Bodyguard. So there is two different things in that. First of all, that's the developer experience. I mean, integrating a DSA solution in your platform is quite difficult for a lot of developers and product team worldwide. So at Bodyguard, you can integrate Bodyguard in 1 hour maximum. This is what we did with like Biril.
In 1 hour?
Yeah, in 1 hour, you can integrate Bodyguard. And whenever you set up Bodyguard, you just have to tell us who you are. I mean, if we take the case of Ubisoft, you just have to say that you are a video games, a first-person shooter video games, limited to 18 years old people. In which area or countries that do you have your most user base? And then Bodyguard will understand everything and define custom rule in real time set for your platform. Because one difficult thing for platform is to understand the limit of moderation. Where do you put the cursor? What do I have to remove? Yeah. What do I have to keep to let everything part of the game? So that for the developer experience. And all the other end, that's why Bodyguard is using different technologies to do moderation. We do have a rules-based technology on first end, then we have machine learning model, and then sometimes we do have generative AI, but you cannot use only one of them. Because if you only use one of them, then you have some difficulties on some area. If you only use machine learning or generative AI for your content moderation, then it will be extremely difficult for you to provide a custom moderation, or it can be extremely difficult for you to update the technology to follow new trends. So that's why sometimes you also need a rules engine based technology to quickly follow new trends and update the technology based on the platform needs and new toxicity trends. So this is why we are doing that at Bodyguard. Yeah. Easy to set up, really important, and having like defined rules based on, I'm not even talking about the gaming industry, because someone saying I'm going to kill you in a video games where you cannot kill someone, this is a content that should be removed. But someone saying, I'm going to kill you in a video game where you can kill someone, this is something that should be kept on the platform. So this is what we did at Bodyguard. You just have to tell that to Bodyguard, and we'll give you a perfect moderation on that.
Yeah, coming back to my point, which leads to the question how you take into account the context of, let's say, the use case of the platform, but also the cultural context for some time, and also the legal specificities from one country or one region to another. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, really important as well. So we have 3 different technologies at Bodyguard. This is what I said, rules-based one, machine learning model, and large language model as well. And for the rules-based one, we do have a team of 10 linguists working actively on updating the technology on a daily basis to follow new trends and to set these conditions. Like there is some words in Portuguese that are toxic in Portugal and not toxic in Brazil, but this is the same language. So it's important to be able to set a technology that can follow these rules. Same example as a phrase saying, I'm going to kill you. We do have a specific technology to understand that kind of things, and this is key when it comes to using API for the DSA. And same thing for, let's say that you have someone commenting a vomit emoji on the social media. If the publication is about LGBT rights, this is an homophobic comment that should be removed. But this is, if it's the same vomit emoji posted on a publication that talk about, I don't know, a football team that lost their last game, it's just a negative criticism comment and should be kept. But how do you understand the context and the publication. We are always talking about context, but what does it mean?
Yeah.
It means being able to understand in what kind of video games the technology is applied, and also being to understand in which context, is it a video games party? Is it a publication on Facebook? If so, what is the main purpose of the publication? So yeah, this is what context is about, and this is why you also need different kind of technology, and that's why I'm fighting a lot on our competitors that are only using one kind of technology, either machine learning or either large language model. It cannot be this way.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about context, I guess that I had a question about the difficulty to tackle certain types of content that are especially difficult to identify as being non-compliant with the term of use, like, for example, misinformation or disinformation. My experience is that, well, typically during the COVID, the platform had a lot of difficulties to set the right balance between what wasn't disinformation and what was disinformation. Well, I guess assessing the context may be part of the solution, but for this type of, in my view, especially difficult type of content to address, do you have specific experience or clues?
First of all, we are going to release a publication about the latest announcement from Mark Zuckerberg on January 7 this year, where he said that he's going to update his policy regarding toxicity. First of all, we saw at Bodyguard that 8 has increased of 25% since Mark Zuckerberg announcement, since the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And during this time, normally, 8 should decrease by 10%. And this is the same thing that we saw with misinformation. So about misinformation, there is some technologies capabilities, but I mean, I have a lot of hope in the community notes system.
Oh, yeah?
Something that will be removed by Mark Zuckerberg as well in the US, but I have a lot of hope in it. Only thing is that we have to take proper action against users that are being community noted. That's the main thing. I mean, being community noted about disinformation and nothing is done on your account, like you are not banned or blocked or whatsoever, is useless.
And
so
that's
proper
interesting,
action.
actually. How much do you think the community notes are kind of reliable, and how much they can help actually to tackle this problem?
Yeah, they do are really reliable. This
Okay.
is something that you can see on X, so Twitter. But main issue is that no action are taken on the authors that are spreading misinformation. They still have the same visibility. They are not banned or blocked. So, I mean, you can try again and again. And at the end, you will have a lot of visibility. So we should have a law that force platforms to integrate community notes that are great things, but to take action on the account that are being community note a lot.
Okay.
And putting also in place systems where you can be sure that this person cannot recreate an account on your platform.
Yeah.
There is some barrier to do so. There is some technologies to do so. Not that perfect, but it works like 80% of the time.
Okay. Which directs us to well, you mentioned a little bit the technical aspects, but I think maybe interesting to come back on this a little bit, because again, based on our experience, what I see sometimes is that, especially for well, middle-sized, small platforms, I guess that how easy it is and how accessible is the technology is very important aspect. Why? Well, because implementing all these rules and implementing a technology, it's just a lot of resources allocated by these platforms, resources that they often see, and it's kind of right also, as resources they cannot invest on any kind of innovation that with respect to the feature they have on their platform. So how much accessible is the technology? I think it's in my view also a crucial issue. You talk about it a little bit, but how it works with the Can you just give us example on how it works when you onboard a client in some way, and you start working with the trust and safety guys, the IT guys? I don't know how.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because we are entering a world of a buy versus build. Now that we have generative AI everywhere, there is a lot of companies asking themselves, like, why do I have to pay for a solution? I mean, I can build my own solution using generative AI. So there is a new SaaS challenge for a lot of software as a service providers, is to being able to prove that it's better for the company to buy versus build their own solution. So at Bodyguard, it's quite simple. We have a developer documentation. You can create your account, retrieve your API access in a few seconds. Then you start sending all your messages to Bodyguard. Whenever you create your account on our platform, you are going to tell us, like, you are a video games, where can we kill people or not? There is a weapon or not in your platform, drugs, alcohol, what kind of maps do you have on your platform? Because one funny example is that with some video games, there is like some maps where they do have kitchen in it. So people were saying, go back to the kitchen, which is a misogynistic comments on social media platform. So that's why it's really important to have that kind of information. So you just create your account, you tell us everything, your industry, gaming, your video games, what kind of video games, etc. We ask a lot of questions, and then we have a technology that can follow these rules and give a proper moderation template in terms of what you should remove or not. And you're good to go. And this is the way it should be done. You cannot use a generative. You cannot use a generalist machine learning model or large language model solution, because you have to have all that kind of context. And we tried, even if you put vast information in the prompt for a generative AI model, then results are not good yet. So again, moderation is about complementary technology. You have to use the three of them.
Okay. I would like to address a kind of a final challenge that I hear a lot about. I mentioned the fact that, well, it's been a year that the DSA is fully applicable. The platforms are now issuing their annual reports, kind of the first one. And obviously, it asks for the platforms to be able to extract data, to manage the data, and maybe that's an aspect of your service or technology. Maybe that's something you could tell us about, how difficult it is to make it easy for the users, meaning the trust and safety team, to access the data and to wrap the data into the right format, because these reports, they are pretty detailed, pretty specific. So,
For me, transparency will be key for the DSA to live during the next year. If we do not have transparency, we won't be able to pursue the DSA and to maintain that law in Europe. When it comes to transparency, we are talking about transparency report, being able to provide statistics about what happened on your platform. But this is something that a lot of platforms can do easily right now. This is what Bodyguard can provide as well, because we have like real-time statistics within our dashboard. But it's also about transparency in the technology that you use. Can you explain a decision? Can you explain what does your technology has learned, which is the main issue? I mean, if we start to use US-based technology or Chinese-based technology to do content moderation in Europe, we are going to have a huge problem. Huge problem. It's important to be able to explain what your technology has learned and to explain a decision in order to fix it. Otherwise, it will be extremely difficult for the DSA to continue and to...
Which leads to a very important topic, which is a topic that is that concerns directly, I would mean, the tech providers. It's a question of how much accessible are the data to train the tools, to train some kind of, even if you're not using only AI tools, but you do use AI tools. But that's also, I think that's also an interesting question, because it comes to your point. of how important it is to have technologies taking into account that are not biased, basically. So not being biased, supposing to be able to take into account all the different cultural aspects, okay? Which leads to the question, is it today, and I'm asking this question to you as a tech provider, is it easy enough to access this data to be able to build a strong, reliable, and efficient AI technology, for example?
Yeah. We spend millions euros at Bodyguard working on our own technology, a simply rules-based one, but it's way more complex than that, which is an open one. So we can understand the rules, we can define specific rules, and we can explain a decision. We spend millions on it. And right now, I can say that this kind of technology do have better results than machine learning model or even the latest generative AI models as well. So the only proof that I want to provide is that it can be possible if you put the right amount of money on your technology. And this is my message to everyone, that we should put a lot of money in the core technology of content moderation. You should invest more, and you should use complementary technology with rule-based machine learning and generative AI. It should be the three of them.
Okay. So final point, because well, DSA is as it is today, but DSA, you know, there are lots of delegated acts, guidelines that are still expected to be enacted by the EU Commission. Well, other regulation obviously may have an impact also on trust and safety moderation. There's this Digital Fairness Act that is in the pipe in Brussels. So we can see obviously that the regulation is a moving environment. And is this something you're taking into consideration? Is this easy for you to adapt to the rules that will come in the future?
This is what I said earlier, and this is also key. Being agile is something fundamental when it comes to trust and safety. And this is the main issue that you are seeing on social media platforms. They are not agile enough, and they are not following the path of new toxicity trends. So agility will be key for trust and safety teams, because you have to follow new regulation, you have to follow new toxicity trends, and that's why using a partner that can be as agile as your community is something key. And that's why we are doing so at Bodyguard. That's why we developed, we are like 40 people at Bodyguard, but I put a lot of pressure and focus on being as agile as possible as if we were 5 at Bodyguard. So we can easily adapt our product, update our technologies, and do the same thing for our customers. And I mean, agility will be key. And this is the main issue that you are seeing on social media platforms right now. It's not that they are not doing anything. It's just that they are way too big. And this is not their domain of expertise. And they are not agile at all. So, yeah, the mouse is winning, as always.
Okay. That's an excellent final word, I would say.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Charles. And, well, thank you all. I hope you had an interesting time with us.
Thank you, everyone.